Whoop, I didn't have the logo. Oh, well. You get straight to our ugly mugs right here. Chris Perkins from the South Florida Sun Sentinel joining me once again to recap day 4 of Miami Dolphins training camp practices. This one, the first one with fans in attendance, and obviously it has a little bit of a different vibes. And we're here to recap it all, along with moves at cornerback, the cornerback carousel, as you will. Perk, long time no see.
Yeah, it's been 2 hours, something like that. So yeah, a lot has changed since then, huh? Not really.
Well, yeah, a lot has changed in terms, even with just the roster. And let's start with that. The Dolphins on Saturday signing not one, but 2 cornerbacks, that to go along with Cornell Armstrong, who was signed on Thursday. On Saturday in the morning, right before practice, they signed Jack Jones, former 4th-round pick of the New England Patriots, who also spent time with the Las Vegas Raiders, who I think everybody will agree is a highly talented cornerback who has had some off-the-field legal issues, maturity concerns there. That would be the question with that particular signing. And then after practice, after Kader Kohu and B.J. Adams, the rookie free agent, both left practice early, the Dolphins then signed veteran Mike Hilton, who is more of a nickel corner, formerly of the Cincinnati Bengals, previously before that with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Perk, who wrote about not liking the status of the cornerback room for the Sun Sentinel at sunsentinel.com on Friday. I haven't checked out your website just now, but are you writing now that you like what's happening with the cornerback room?
You know what? I'm waiting to see. It's a better cornerback room, but I still think they're probably below average. So take that for what it's worth. Mike Hilton is 31 years old, and that's usually kind of a age where you watch guys, especially at speedy positions, or athletic, such as a cornerback, a running back, a wide receiver, those types of guys. We'll see with Jack Jones. I think I probably feel better about him because the Dolphins are more in need of a boundary than a nickel, depending on Kader Kohu's status, of course. So we'll see on both of them, but I am glad to see that they went outside the roster, and I'm glad to see that they did it sooner rather than later. To me, it was a pretty dire circumstance that, look, and like I said yesterday, when I saw those cornerbacks 1-on-1, 7-on-7, 11-on-11, they weren't making plays. You would see them come back over to the coaches, and it wasn't congratulations. It was correction. So I think those moves needed to be made.
Okay, and from where I stood, I thought that before today, the top 3 of Kader Kohu, Storm Duck, Kendall Sheffield, in terms of how they performed in the offseason and so far, was doing decent. Certainly not high-end cornerbacks, but I didn't think there was anything to be like, oh, panic, alert. Was it Robinson, Bull Robinson? I will tell you right off the bat, and then I don't want to diving too much into practice, but Jack Jones practiced immediately on Saturday, and he looked damn good in coverage. I will say that. The thing with Mike Hilton is, again, I watch games throughout the NFL throughout the year. Obviously, I don't know as much about players outside the Dolphins as the guys who cover them. So whenever the Dolphins bring in somebody else, I tend to reach out to my buddies who cover those teams, and I reached out in terms of Jack Jones and in terms of Mike Hilton. And what I was told was one of the issues with Jack Jones, he wasn't necessarily a scheme fit for what the Pete Carroll wants to run with the Las Vegas Raiders taking over as the head coach. And in terms of Cincinnati, what I was told about Mike Hilton is that the coverage skills took a dip last season. Still a very good blitzer. He's a good locker room guy. And another issue was that their defensive coordinator, Al Golden, former University of Miami head coach, who has taken over for former Dolphins secondary coach Lou Anarumo as the DC in Cincinnati, wanted to get younger on the back end, which is why they did not re-sign Hilton when he was an unrestricted free agent. So to suggest that Mike Hilton's going to come in and be a complete stud at nickel corner maybe a stretch. This is a guy who, however, has been a very good high-end nickel corner for a good part of his career. And Jack Jones, to me, is, yes, there are maturity issues, and our good buddy Ben Volen, the Boston Globe, kind of took a little shot at the Dolphins, saying something along the lines, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but like, team looking to become more mature and all that, and leadership and maturity, and they go out and sign Jack Jones. Interesting. However, chances are he signed at a very low salary, and if there's any acting up whatsoever, probably very early on, I'm going to guess he's going to be on a very strict, what's the word, like, no, he may already be on double secret probation even as he signs, I would think.
Yeah, he might. But the Dolphins aren't in a position to be picky, are they? You might have to tolerate some stuff that you wouldn't have tolerated before because, let's face it, they're fairly desperate. And look, when guys, as we say all the time, when guys are available at this time of year, there's a reason. Doesn't mean it won't work out. Doesn't mean it can't work out. But there's a reason that they're available. We'll see what happens. Again, it's an improved secondary. So with these acquisitions, I still think they're below average, but let's wait and see. Let's see how they fit in. Let's see what Anthony Weaver can do for them. Let's see what that front seven can do to buy the back end some time to develop, which, I'm very high on that front seven. So good moves. I'm glad to see that the Dolphins did something.
No, I agree. And again, if it does pan out, if nothing else, it certainly adds depth. And then you're mentioning, like, not necessarily coming in on double secret probation. My thought's always been, like, the level of what you're going to put up with a certain player is always commensurate with the talent level. You put up with a lot more with Tyreek Hill than you do with the player number 53 on the roster.
Right.
That's just a fact of life. Okay, that was the good news in terms of the cornerback position. The bad news, or potentially bad news, disappointing news, is two guys left practice early. We mentioned, and I'm going to tell you what I saw without speculating, because that would not be prudent and the Dolphins would not appreciate that. But I can certainly tell you what exactly I saw. Is, first of all, Kader was injured for the first time in training camp. The Dolphins did the drill where it's half the field, one-on-one cornerback or DB against wide receiver. And with that drill, I'm going to always put the caveat, if you ever see any of the daily guys, the beat guys, whoever write reports off of that, understand that drill is heavily favored for the offensive player. I mean, bad. Okay, anyway, so Kader was lining up against Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill started a little bit wide, made a cut inside, then made a cut outside. When he made the cut outside, Kader, I don't know exactly what happened then. I'm going to guess he took a wrong step or something happened there, because Tyreek went to the side and Kader, like, his body torn toward the end zone, away from where the pass was coming from Tua, and kind of stumbled and fell forward, and then immediately grabbed his right knee, which is, not good. Went to the sideline, looked over by the trainer, and then he walked with a trainer or two to the locker room. When he first started walking, there was a clear limp. The closer he got to the entrance to get inside the facility at the Baptist Health Training Complex, the better his walk looked. What that means, I'm not going to say anything other than what would say it's an apparent right knee injury based on the fact that he grabbed his knee. Severity of it, we don't know. Can we do 2 and 2 plus equals 4, because Dolphins officially signed, or not officially, but they agreed to terms with Hilton not long after practice when Kohu got injured. So,
the other detail that I would add is, once Kohu went down, he stayed down for a little bit, got some medical attention, and Mike McDaniel came over also. And then after Kohu went inside the building, I saw Mike McDaniel go over to where Kohu went in the door, and he talked to somebody, I assume about Kader. And I saw McDaniel jog off. I would take that to mean there was concern from the head coach, which, if this was just a sprained ankle, I don't think the head coach expresses that much interest or concern. So, I think initially we could safely say that there was concern that it's a as something that would last for weeks as opposed to days.
Correct. And then the other part of it we should add is Cameron Wolf, who was on the field after practice on the set of NFL Network, along with a couple of the other networks, tweeted that Kader walked by their set a couple of times after practice going to and from facility to get checked out, and that there was not any clear limp or significant limp. That would be encouraging. Again, we'll take that forward. So obviously, you have to hope that it's nothing serious, because the dude has been playing really, really well in training camp so far. The other injury was rookie free agent B.J. Adams, who had a minor issue on Wednesday. This one was totally unrelated, and it was a little freaky, I'm going to be honest. He was covering somebody. The pass was in his direction, and he winds up on the ground, gets up kind of slowly, like something's not right, and then a trainer joins him on the field, or a staff member, and then he's walking around, and clearly he's in a daze, because it's like he is walking around. He was wobbling basically, and he's on the sideline. Trainer comes over and still wobbly, and eventually they put him on a cart, brought him inside. Don't know. Again, don't want to speculate. Those are all just the facts as I observed them.
Yeah, I like what I've seen from B.J. Adams. He's flashed. I'm not saying he's ready to be a starter or a backup, but he has flashed. You've noticed him out there, number 45. He's got some good size. He's gotten his hands in on a couple of plays and things like that. From mini camp and OTAs and 3 days of 3+ days of training camp. I would have given him an outside chance to make the roster. I guess I still do, depending on what's going on medically here. But practice squad, perhaps lower, special teams. But he's flashed. He showed me a little something.
Okay, and then one last thing, I need to go back and indicate that to make room on the roster for Jack Jones, the Dolphins waived Ryan Cooper Jr. That's the second time this year they have waived them. So I'm going to guess by now, if I'm Ryan Cooper Jr., like, I'm not re-signing with the Dolphins, because they claimed him off waiver initially from Seattle, waived him. Somebody else, I think maybe when Teron Armstead was put on reserve, retired. I don't know exactly when, but he was re-signed and he was waived again. So, and once they officially sign Mike Hilton, they'll have to make another roster move, and we'll see what that entails. Guess we have to talk about Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
And apparently, based on what I'm seeing on social media, fans don't care that he hasn't spoken to the media since the trade. Maybe it's just us who are like a little frustrated that he will not address the media, and probably not a stretch to suggest it's because he's looking for a new contract and doesn't have it yet. And to that end, he has hired Drew Rosenhaus as his new agent, and talk about being a central figure in the Dolphins, outlook for 2025, because Drew Rosenhaus also represented Jonnu Smith, who wanted a new contract that the Dolphins wouldn't give him, or at least to the degree he was seeking, traded to the Steelers. Drew also represents Zach Sealer, who's also looking for a new contract. And this is not a surprise. Minka Fitzpatrick has 2 years left. It's good money. Like, I think it's 15 or 17 each of the next 2 seasons, but none of it's guaranteed. And NFL players like guaranteed money.
Yeah, just wild speculation here. I wonder if Minka saw, he got Jonnu Smith some money from Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh wouldn't give me anything.
Yeah,
maybe I need to get this guy working for me. Wild speculation. I don't know, but
I know. I mean, talk about like 6 degrees of separation or something. I mean,
connecting dots that might not be connected, but might be connected. So
but also like the Pittsburgh and Dallas pipeline going in with guys. Contracts and not getting contracts. So, okay, this is the point. I think that takes care of all the off the field stuff, all the non-practice stuff, which is where we should begin maybe with the play of training camp so far. Probably right. Minka Fitzpatrick interception on a deep pass from Zach Wilson. And I think I may have written it down, Tariq Black, who was the intended receiver, who had a DB trailing him. He had a little bit of distance of separation, not a ton, The only problem was that Minka Fitzpatrick was lurking on the other side, and then he leapt for the overthrown pass, came down with the interception. It was, again, probably the play of training camp so far.
We'll talk about the Jason Marshall interception, which I thought was more athletic. But with Minka, I watched Minka that whole play. And right when they were lining up, I said it out loud. I said, Minka, Minka, Minka. He totally tricked Zach Wilson into that, thinking that this was one-on-one coverage. And, but he came up and then he went back. And when Minka started going back, it was obvious, oh no, Minka's got this thing covered. Like he's on him like a blanket. Zach didn't see it. Brilliant play by a veteran safety, Minka Fitzpatrick, because he tricked Zach into thinking it's one-on-one coverage and the receiver is going to beat the DB, and he did. But the pass was overthrown, like you said, but Minka was right there to catch it. Brilliant play by a veteran safety.
Yeah, and this is a guy who not only has very good athleticism, but also has a lot of savvy in the secondary. He's a very smart, athletic football player, which is why he was the 11th overall pick in 2018, which is why he's a, 2-time All-Pro, 3-time All-Pro. The dude can play. And going back to this contract situation, I would think Zach Sealer should be priority number one for the Dolphins, and then Minka should get addressed. And understanding that those two moves will help the Dolphins' salary cap situation for 2025. Not going to help for 2026 when they're already over the cap, I believe. But there's always time and other things that they'll wind up being able to do. So the other interception that Mr. Perkins over here referred to came on the play. By the way, there was a flag, if you recall, on the play, and I don't know what it was for. I didn't see the signal, but it was, I want to say Quinn Ewers was attempting to throw it to running back Nate Noel down the right sideline. Rookie on rookie, Jason Marshall pass a bit underthrown. And it is also the part where the size advantage comes in, because Jason Marshall is like 6'3", Nate Noel as a running back 5'8", 5'9". And even though Noel got behind Marshall, Noel's length came into play as he leapt backward, grabbed the ball, and then fell on his back, got up. There was some people around him. A lot of guys stopped, and he kept running to the end zone. And some of the media people were very quick to say, pick six, pick six. Let's just say it was a very nice athletic interception.
Yeah, I thought it was a more athletic interception than Minka's. Minka's was athletic. This was the most there's only been two interceptions. I was going to say the most athletic interception of training camp, but there's only been two, and they were both today. But it was good, and especially for a rookie, with Minka, there was some veteran savvy, and he's had tons of interceptions, not in the last 2 years, but he's had his share. I know. Why does he got to take?
You have to throw that in there, didn't you?
I did. I couldn't resist. He's rich. He can take it. But it was a very athletic interception by Marshall, and he should be very proud of that play that he made. It was really a nice looking play.
Oh no, I agree.
But Minka, Minka
both leapt, so it's like leapt. Yeah. Leapt. Okay. They were both nice. We'll call him even. How about that?
Yeah. Well, Minka, Minka made the better play because he forced that throw. I just thought Marshall's was the more athletic interception. But yeah, I give Minka the better interception, hands down. The play, the savvy, the smarts, hands down. That was the better play.
Okay. On the flip side, there were two long completions, probably the two longest of training camp. One was from Quinn Ewers to Monterey Baldwin, a rookie free agent wide receiver. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to point out, it came on a double move where he smoked Cam Smith, which clearly is not encouraging. And I think that was when, to me, the turning point of his rookie season was when he got beat on a double move. So I guess he was trying to be aggressive, make something happen, bit on the first move, and then boom, he went, and Baldwin was wide open, and Ewers hit him. The other long completion was Tua to Tyreek Hill. is one of those plays where it wasn't like directly over the top, gets sprints past the defense, and he's hit over the top. It was one of those where Tua had time and Tyreek's running down the field, and the DBs are trying to figure out how to play him. And in this case, it was Ashton Davis. Tua hit him over him or to the side of him, and would be another long touchdown. And with that, I will say that I thought all three quarterbacks had some really, really impressive completions. Quinn Ewers had a couple of throws, like those lofted passes over a defender, like right over a defender to the receiver. And in fact, the term I use, just to prove I'm not a hater, I said that in my Miami Dolphins on SI.com practice recap, it showed Tua type touch. Because Tua's very good at that throw. Yep. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL at that touch throw over the first defender and into the receiver. And Quinn Ewers had one of those. Zach Wilson also had one of those. Yep. And Tua had a really nice throw over the middle to Jalen Waddle as well. Among the throws that stood out, the little completions on a dump off. I was like, okay, good. But I thought all three quarterbacks looked good.
I thought they did too, and I'll add this, and I might have said this yesterday. We haven't seen them throwing deep very often. I think today we probably saw the most deep passes that we saw in one practice, and we've got the new senior pass game coordinator in Bobby Slowick. So I think that they're just kind of working on things every day, different elements of the pass game. But I like that I've seen a lot of intermediate and short passes that aren't dink and dump type things there. And so I'm liking what I see of the Slowick pass game so far. It's not just, Tua to Tyreek over the top, using speed, outrunning everybody. It looks like they're running well thought out patterns and throwing to well thought out places. It looks a little more mature than the passing game has the previous 3 years. That's very preliminary, but I think it's clear we haven't seen as many deep shots as we had seen early in training camp the previous 3 years of Mike McDaniel. So, and also I think with the offense, we've probably seen a little more focus on the run game through the first few practices. Also, you don't think so? I think we probably have, but I don't know that we've seen any noticeable difference, like more up the middle runs or more power runs or anything like that. But they have definitely they've spent some time on the run game. I'll say that it hasn't been ignored.
Fair enough. I will say this, and because you mentioned the passing game looking crisper, I would tell you at this particular time, Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers look exponentially better than Skylar Thompson and Mike White at the same juncture in 2024.
I agree.
Like, wow, the difference is massive. And then Tua's Tua. I mean, he's looked sharp. No concerns there. But then again, not that there would be anyway. Okay, let's take turns. Players who caught our attention today. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
Good. I was hoping you'd say that. Willie Gay Jr. Man, that dude is like, there is not a practice where he doesn't make a couple of plays where you're just noticing him, whether it's shooting up on against the run in coverage. Today he had a play where he blitzed and Tua was trying to do a quick hitter to Tyreek, who looked like he was open, and Gay batted the ball away. In terms of the inside linebackers, they've all looked good. To me, he's been the second most impressive behind Jordan Brooks.
Yeah, I would say so. And I, you know what, I thought Keon Smith did some decent work today. I watched him. He took a good amount of first team reps in place of James Daniels there at right guard. They're still kind of bringing James Daniels along slowly as he recovers from that Achilles that limited him to 4 games with Pittsburgh last season. I saw Keon doing some good stuff against Zach Sealer. I saw him doing some good stuff against Kenneth Grant. I'll say this once again, they're not in pads. And when they're not in pads, what I look for a lot of times is, the hands and the feet, and does he look natural? And then when he goes back to the coach, Is the coach yelling at him? Is the coach correcting him, or is the coach patting him on the back? I saw Keon get a lot of congratulations. We'll see if this translates to pads, but for no pads, I thought Keon Smith did an admirable job in there. Not going to say great, but admirable considering he's been a reserve his entire career.
My turn, Alexander Madison.
Yeah.
Like the way the decisiveness and aggressiveness with which he's attacking the hole when he gets the handoff. And I think I came into camp half expecting Ollie Gordon to make a severe push, if not overtake him as a number 3 guy. As it stands right now, again, it's still very early in training camp. As it stands right now, to me, there's a clear difference between the two in the veteran's favor. He has looked really, really good. And Gordon, on the other hand, has looked to me a little bit hesitant. Or not as fast through the hole.
Yeah, I really did expect Ollie Gordon to come in here and make me go, wow, this is, he might overtake Jalen Wright for running back number 2. But at this point, I haven't seen that. Pads come on Tuesday. I'll add that. Storm Duck is a guy who I notice him because I don't notice him getting beaten. And so when you're going up against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think that's noteworthy that you're not getting torched every time, and at least you're kind of learning, you're holding your own, and that's what I liked about Storm Duck last year is that he was a guy who seemed to have that short memory that he could get beat, but he would come back out there and he would compete again and compete again and compete again, and I see that again this year. Right now, I don't know if he's starting caliber right now. Maybe he plays himself up to that level through joint practices and preseason games, but he's close. He's somebody that as a cornerback, which I had a very gloomy outlook for those cornerbacks. I like what I'm seeing from Storm Duck, and I continue to like it.
I agree. I like him as well. I'm going to point out one wide receiver, and it's not going to be Jalen Waddle because Jalen Waddle's a really good player, and Jalen Waddle looks great right now in camp. He looks absolutely great. D. Eskridge had a really, really good day today. I think I had him with like 3 catches, and this is a continuation. He's impressed me since the start of the offseason program. And again, if we're counting on Tyreek Waddle, NWI, Nick Westbrook-Akini, for those not sure who I mean. And then, just by the way, that's even Jalen Waddle told us about one of the weapons on offense being Juju. And I had to confirm with him, you mean Julian Hill? And that's what. So Julian Hill is Juju, if you ever hear Jalen Waddle talk about him. And then Malik Washington's going to be 4. Mm-hmm. Dolphins, I don't think are going to keep 6. They have kept 6 before. They've also kept 4 before. Yep. Normally, that should be 5. And I think right now, D. Eskridge, based on what I've seen, would have the edge for that number 5 spot.
Other people that I saw playing well, I mentioned Keon Smith. I wrote a column today. Let's tip our hats to the offensive line briefly, because as in a camp, in an OTA, mini camp, and training camp, where we talk edge rusher, edge rusher, edge rusher, edge rusher. They've been good. They've been effective. Chubb, Phillips. We didn't see a whole lot of that today. We saw some of that today, but I thought the offensive line in pass protection and in the run game had a good day. One day, a good day. They've been choppy. They've been inconsistent the whole offseason. But today I thought they had their best day. You didn't see a whole lot of Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb and Chop Robinson in that backfield chasing the quarterbacks around like we have seen in previous days. So, and as you say, we saw Alexander Madison breaking off some runs. We saw Devon Achane breaking off some runs. Matter of fact, Achane had the orange jersey today. So that's another testament to, that was yesterday's performance for the offensive line. But I thought the offensive line had its best day. I wouldn't, say that they played like a top 10 offensive line in the NFL, but they had their best day. They showed some progress. We'll see if it continues. But while we can, let's tip our hat to those guys. It might not last long.
And I don't even know that they need to be top 10. By the way, if anybody caught me yawning a little bit when I like that, I'm still jet lagged, folks. So it wasn't a reflection on Perk.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. You were calling BS on my observation. Right, exactly. More Perks BS. I know what you think.
Oh no, Perk. You mean Perks pearls? Okay. Now I lost my train of thought. That I can't.
Well, let me make this other note because I watch special teams. If anybody cares, Jason Sanders was 6 for 6 on his field goals. None of them were from 50 or more. The longest was 47. Ryan Stonehouse was the holder on all 6 of those. But then when they went to a punting drill, Jake Bailey was punting.
You sure about that? I could have sworn I saw Bailey holding.
I saw Stonehouse holding and Bailey punting.
Oh, now we're gonna have a little.
We set off the alarm.
I know. What was that?
That's my fire alarm in my building.
Boy, we'll wrap it up very quickly. So, by the way, if you start to see smoke, if you get smoke or the fire, by all means, feel free to disengage. We'll wrap it up very quickly here. A couple of other guys that caught my eye. Rookie free agent safety John Saunders Jr. again had another nice pass breakup down the field, and Channing Tindall again made another play noticeable, which is more than he's done in previous training camps. Perk, any final thoughts before we lose you forever?
No, the fire extinguisher works. That's my final thought.
Okay.
We just had it inspected.
Okay, gang, that's going to wrap it up for this Saturday programming note. I'm going to do a live episode on Sunday. I'm thinking 7 or 8 p.m. Check your notifications. It'll be on social media. We'll be back here on Monday when the Dolphins return to practice. Man, this is distracting. When the Dolphins return.
Your building isn't on fire. I'm the one sitting here patiently while you wrap it up.
That's a good point. By all means, but feel free to go if you need to. In the meantime, check out my man Perk's written content at the South Florida Sun Sentinel at sunsentinel.com. My work on Miami Dolphins on the side.com, along with that of my team. And that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. And
I hope to see you guys later.